Good morning and welcome to our Yizkor services.
Boker tov lekulam, bruchim habaim. Good morning to one and all. It is a blessing to be here with you. And Cantor Friedman, welcome to you as well.
Thank you.
Chag Pesach Sameach to one and all. And as we prepare for Yizkor, anybody that we're remembering today, we are remembering for a blessing as we always do. And may we end this Zman Cherotenu, this season of our freedom, with the power of memory and the power of the legacies that we draw near to our hearts during this time, and really always. So Cantor, let us bring some beautiful music to bear at this moment. Chag Sameach, everyone.
Chag Sameach.
Beautiful rendition, Cantor Friedman, as we usher in this closure of Pesach, this ending of Passover. It's nice to turn to the Shir HaShirim, the Song of Our Songs, Dodi Li. Reading from Mishkan Tefillah. Then Miriam, the prophetess, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women came out after her in dance with timbrels. And Miriam chanted for them, "Sing to Adonai, for God has triumphed gloriously. Horse and driver God hurled into the sea." That is a sad price that one pays for freedom, but then again, balanced out by 400 years of slavery. So we celebrate our liberation. We celebrate our cherut, our freedom. But we remember that we paid a terrible price for our freedom, 400 years of slavery, and there were those who were sent to their deaths. So we do not celebrate their loss, but we focus on the power of our opportunity to make a difference in the world and to use our freedom for good, so that nobody has to die in pursuit of cherut, of freedom. So let us continue with Mo de Ani. As we give thanks to God for another day in cherut, in freedom, with Torah imprinted upon our hearts, and a sense of responsibility to make a difference in the world. Even if we are sheltering in place, we can find a way to make a difference. Modeh ani. Modeh ani lefanecha, melecha v'kayam, shechezarta minishmati b'chemla, b'chemla, raba emunatecha, raba emunatecha.
Mishkan Botecha Yisrael Mishkan Botecha Yisrael.
May I invite you to continue on 425, Cantor, with this special reading, special alternative to Nisim B'chol Yom. Still have beautiful miracles to account for each day. Here's a different way to consider those miracles, those Nisim. Please.
Absolutely. I can stay the tears of others. If I can see myself as diminished of their sorrows, I can hasten the time when everyone will be able to rejoice in freedom. And if I can see as the companion of those fighting against oppression, I can honor the struggle of people everywhere to gain dignity and deliverance from bondage. When I look at myself in the mirror, who will I see?
We'll continue with La Sok B'Divrei Torah. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Kitshanu B'Mitzotav V'Tzivanu La'asok B'Divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign over time and space, makes us holy with commandments, commands us to engage or soak up, la'asok, soak up the Torah into our hearts.
Amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah, El Bekodsho, Hallelujah, Bekiozo, Hallelujah, Bivurotav, Hallelujah, Kerov Gudlo, Hallelujah, Beteko Shofar, Hallelujah, Benebe Bechinor, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. הללוהו בטוף ומחול, הללוהו במינים ועוקב, הללוהו בצלצלי שמע, הללוהו בצלצלי תרועה, כל הנשמה דהללויה, הללוהו, הללויה, הללויה, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
What a beautiful rendition of Psalm 150. Very beautiful and meditative, familiar. That's what we want this Passover experience today to be, particularly as we make our way towards Yizkor. Passover is a joyous time. And even though it's Yizkor, it doesn't mitigate that joy, but it balances it out. And so we choose for our music today to create that sense of balance, that there's joy in quietude, there's joy in reflection, there's joy in gradual pace, and in the power of memory and familiarity. So in that spirit, we just chant the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech oseh shalom uvorei et hakol hameir la'aretz v'la'arim alecha barachamim uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai kulam b'chochma asita mal'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha tiparach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha me'al me'orei or she'asita yifarucha sela or chadash al Tzion ta'ir v'nizkeh chulanu mehera le'oro baruch atah Adonai yotzer ham orot.
Amen. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Ruch shekevod mahuto le'olam va'ed. Ruch shekevod mahuto le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננת לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Everett, we continue with a special reading. I think you'll recognize its redemptive qualities. You'll forgive me. Here we go. You'll understand the redemptive qualities of this particular poetry. Old pirates, yes, they rabbi, sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. But my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? Because all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, because none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Ooh, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? Because all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs, redemption songs. Now we'll put some music to that. Chamocha, Ba'alim Adonai, Mi Chamocha, Neda Bakodesh, Noora Tehilot, Hosef Ele, Noora Tehilot, Hosef Ele. Won't you help me sing? Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? It's all I ever had. Redemption songs, these songs of freedom. Redemption songs.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
And we added a the Bob Marley and the Wailers lyrics
Rabbi Bob
as a
Marley.
way to build kavanah, intentionality before.
Can't think of anything better.
Sorry for that little delay. There's just script just sort of like disappeared into thin air. So sorry for
Such
that
is
little
the
pause.
challenge.
I hope you were able to find lots of moments in that very full pause to reflect on the power of redemption, Bob Marley, the Micha Mocha. What on earth's going on here?
There are beauty
That
in
was all
sacred
good.
space, right?
Sman Karutenu, you're free to do whatever you need to do in these large pauses.
The Tefillah section has some slight inserts. Adonai safatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'il Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh HaKol, Vezocher Hasdei Avot V'imachot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באחווה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מרקל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיי, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. לברכה ולא לקללה, לחיים ולא מוות, לברכה ולא לקללה, לברכה. לברכה ולא לקללה, לסובה ולא לרצון, לברכה ולא לקללה, לברכה. לחיים ולא למוות, לחיים, לחיים ולא למוות, לחיים, לחיים, לברכה ולא לקללה, לסובה ולא לרזון, לברכה ולא לקללה, לברכה, לברכה, לברכה. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא הארץ, כבודו, אדיר אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני, ממקומו, 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 אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמה לעיני כל חי, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Friends, I'll read a few beautiful readings here in Mishkan Tefillah to lead us into silent meditation. These are really beautiful Passover meditations. Freedom isn't just once to walk out under the Milky Way, feeling the rivers of light, the fields of dark. Freedom is daily, prose-bound, routine, remembering, putting together inch by inch the starry worlds from all the lost collections. One does not travel to Yerushalayim, one returns, one ascends. The road taken by generations, the path of longing on the way to redemption. One brings rucksacks stuffed with memories to each mountain and each hill. In the cobbled white alleyways, one offers a blessing for memories of the past which have been renewed. One does not travel to Yerushalayim, one returns. And for good measure, many generations later, redeemed from slavery, Abraham and Sarah's descendants stood at Mount Sinai. The ancient promise was to be confirmed. The ancient mandate reasserted and enlarged. The ancient covenant renewed and sealed to bind all future generations. When God revealed the Torah, no bird chirped, no fowl beat its wings, no ox bellowed. The angels did not sing, the sea did not stir. No creature uttered a sound. The world was silent and still, and the divine voice spoke. I, the Eternal, am your God. Please take a moment for silent meditation. And when you're done with your personal reflections, recitations, meditations, thoughts will continue.
Oh, say shalom. Bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'yakom Israel ve'imeru. Amen. Oh, say shalom, bimroma. יעשה שלום עלינו.
We are now ready for Seder Kriyat HaTorah, Yom Tov, our Torah reading for Yom Tov, for this Pesach morning, this 7th day of Pesach morning. Cantor, please.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Rabbi, would you honor us with a blessing before the reading of Torah?
Be my pleasure, thank you. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Move this over just a skoch so I can see. Vayahi Bishalach Paro et ha'am v'lo nacham Elohi Yom derech Eretz Pelishtim. This is a little tricky to do the chant when the chant marks are not quite over it. So I think I'm just going to continue by reading it. Ki karovhu, ki amar Elohim, pen yinachem ha'am briotam milchatma v'shav'u mitzrayma. V'yashev Elohim et ha'am derech hamidbar yom suf, v'chal moshim alu v'nei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim. V'yikach Moshe et atzmot Yosif imo, ki hashbea et b'nei Yisrael lemor. Pakod yifkod Elohim etchem, v'ha'alichim et atzmotai mizeh itchem. Now, when Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them by the way of the Philistines, although it was nearer. For God said, the people may have a change of heart when they see war and return to Egypt. So God led the people round about by the way of the wilderness at the Sea of Reeds. Now the Israelites went up armed out of the land of Egypt, and Moses took with him the bones of Joseph, who had exacted an oath from the children of Israel, saying, God will sure to take note of you, then you shall carry up my bones from here with you. The blessing after the reading of Torah.
Kol kavod, Cantor. Sounds great, chanted or read, either way. It fills the moment. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Uh-oh. I lost my melody.
You got it. That was absolutely perfect. Asher natan lanu. You
Anu Torah temet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Chevre, I urge you not to try this at home. We've only done these things 1,000 times, you know. It's good for us all, right? Practice makes progress. Presence, not perfection.
For sure.
Anyway, we'll try to remember the rest of the service, but
We can't make any promises.
no promises. Only that we're really happy to be here with you. So thanks for the opportunity.
That's for
Listen,
sure.
you know, if you don't put yourself out on the line, you know, you never make any mistakes. Very boring life.
Right.
So. How about a bit of good advice to soothe some anxiety about the coronavirus? In this time of COVID-19, in this pandemic, be peaceful knowing that being quarantined does not necessarily mean you are COVID-19. Being COVID-19 does not necessarily mean you will immediately die. And clearly, in the overall process of life, death is unavoidable. So relax, don't panic, be responsible, stay safe, stay at home, just be. This commentary on what some of us have called during this Passover season the 11th plague comes from a man named Avis Viswanathan, who works at a wonderfully sounding job called happiness curator, or the happiness walla, as he names himself. Sounds like a fun occupation, and a joyful one at that. The happiness walla's message of equanimity curates a sense of calm and cool perspective, one of groundedness and balance in reality. Equanimity is a virtue. Equanimity is a kavanah, an intentionality, an attitude, a practice we can all use right now. In Hebrew, we call equanimity menuchat hanefesh, literally the resting of the soul. What a beautiful concept. What an exquisite aspiration. Menuchat hanefesh, the resting of our souls. As usual, this Passover, we return to the central verse of our Haggadah. Avadim hayinu lefaro Mitzrayim. As a way of reaffirming that we not only were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt, but in some ways we still remain so. To imprint that message, we discussed, among other things, the ancient plagues, and could not help but link them to the novel coronavirus. At the same time, I heard some at Seder tables avoid a discussion altogether about the plagues. Too much anxiety caused by COVID-19. That's fully understandable. Because indeed, these are anxious times. There's much uncertainty. I think it's worth noting that a distinct anxiety also marked the liberation of our ancestors. In fact, the Torah tells us so in Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 3. I read in the English. You shall not eat anything leavened with it. For 7 days thereafter, you shall eat leavened bread, bread of distress. Underline that, bread of distress. For you departed from the land of Egypt hurriedly, so that you may remember the day of your departure from the land of Egypt as long as you live. Now, there's a very important Hebrew word in this verse. right in the middle, where it says, Ki v'chipazon yatsata me'eretz Mitzrayim. For you departed from the land of Egypt hurriedly. The chipazon has to do with our ancestors, hurried, anxious, fearful, distress-filled departure from Egypt. We can understand for obvious reasons the frenzied feelings, the out of balance, the wobbly equilibrium, not only for our ancestors as depicted in the text, but for our own lives. Whether there's a need for quarantine or not, our lives at best sometimes are hectic and stressful. And at worst, these stresses, these anxieties can debilitate us with fear and even greater anxiety. Surely this stress could have been more of a positive variety. We can't ignore that. Perhaps the excitement over liberation could have led to abundant nervous energy. I know that would for me. But the golden calf episode down the road, in my opinion, indicates greater complexity. The Talmud dives into this complex psychology. Here in the Babylonian Talmud, Masechet Gittin, chapter 70, portfolio A, we learned that three things diminish a person's strength, and they are fear, traveling on the road, and sin. So, looking back at our ancestors, what do we learn? They were anxious and afraid. And they were anxious and afraid as they traveled out of Egypt toward Mount Sinai, uncertain about the future, uncertain about their own survival. This could create great anxiety, couldn't it? And then what happened? They sinned when they built and danced around the golden calf. As their fears and anxieties rose, their strength diminished, as well as their faith, as well as their self-discipline. And these losses, I submit, threw our ancestors out of the very precarious balance they may have achieved. And of course, they may not have achieved it and never were in balance in the first place. So, Chevre, the big question that calls out to us is, to what extent were the children of Israel really ready for Yitziat Mitzrayim? It's hard to know for sure. After 400 years of slavery, one might think they were supremely ready. But the pace of departure became too hectic, perhaps. That's possible. On the other hand, maybe they weren't quite ready to keep up with the changes, which demanded of them deep and enduring feelings of liberty, not just freedom to do whatever they want, not just freedom to leave and not have Pharaoh bothering them anymore, hurting them, dehumanizing them anymore. Maybe they weren't quite ready for all the responsibility placed upon them as free people who would embrace Torah and a life of responsibility. Cherut is when Torah is imprinted upon our hearts. Maybe they weren't ready to live with the responsibilities of such cherut, and it created tremendous anxiety. Whatever the case, it seemed like the pace moved too quickly. So the question is, why didn't they slow things down? Now, in our Torah portion, it talks about how we went the long route, right? We didn't go up the coast on the beach. We went through the desert to understand the power of freedom. So they weren't quite involved and along in their progress. But ultimately, they needed to slow things down. And perhaps they needed to stop altogether and smell the roses, as it were. Smelling the roses. What a beautiful aphorism. What a lovely example of menuchat hanefesh. When we slow down and stop to smell the roses, we pause to take note of what is often ignored. Perhaps it's something to enjoy, like the beauty around us. Perhaps it's something to appreciate, like the goodness around us. Perhaps it's something for which to be thankful, like the blessings that God gives us, or those quiet nisim that happen every day, those quiet miracles that happen daily. It seems to me our ancestors needed to take a moment to stop, to meditate, to simply breathe, to be in the moment, to reconnect with the spirit of freedom that catapulted them from slavery to liberation, to take in God's loving presence, and to settle down into a restful and soulful place. Menuchat hanefesh. One of my favorite teachers, Rabbi Dr. Shmuley Yanklowitz, says this: Menuchat hanefesh provides us with spiritual clarity. As we journey from darkness to light, from uncertainty to clarity, from the oppression of Egypt to the freedom of the promised land, each of us will need to take some time to discern between the urgent and the unimportant. May the values embedded within Torah help us to achieve the inner calm, the equanimity we need for this task. With cool-headedness, we can cultivate the empathy to see beyond ourselves to others, and the wisdom to determine our next steps on our paths. So it's in the spirit of that wisdom, it's in the spirit of that equanimity that we can think of this Yizkor and the practice of remembering as an exercise in menuchat hanefesh. If anything can upend our equilibrium, it's the death of a loved one, the grief, the pain, the loss of breath, the anxiety, the fear, the out of balance, the bewilderment, the seeming impossibility of redefinition, the loss of hope, the abundance of sadness. How can we possibly cope with all of that? The answer lies in verses we read like verse 4 in Psalm 23. Though I walk through the valley of deepest darkness, I fear no harm, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You may remember online that we posted a short video about Sfirat HaOmer, and we looked to this particular text as an example of two other midot, one of Ometz Lev, courage, and the other of Emunah, of faith. Certainly we need both of these midot, both of these virtues when we are mourning. But I think this sacred text, along with the rest of the Yizkor experience, and the Kaddish in particular, also serve the ultimate summons for menuchat hanefesh, for equanimity. But because grief can be so challenging, because the sadness we feel can be so stubborn, and because the redefinition of our lives post-lost can be so elusive, part of the rebalancing requires continued patient effort, one that may not always go forward without stops and starts, without some steps forward and some back. Chevre, The practice of Menuchat HaNefesh empowers us not to worry so much about those ebbs and flows of healing. Menuchat HaNefesh invites us to surrender when we feel like fighting or when we don't feel we have the energy to struggle on. Menuchat HaNefesh is a summons to serenity. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The Kaddish is like the serenity prayer. It affirms life. It affirms God. It affirms acceptance for and release from things that do not change. It calls for the courage in our hearts to change what can be changed, even if that change is scary, like having in real time to reimagine our lives without those we love. And most importantly, it wishes for us that beautiful wisdom. Kaddish wishes for us that beautiful wisdom that brings balance and stability to our lives, that soothes our aching, torn, and bleeding souls so that they and we may rest and heal. Avadim hayinu lefaro Mitzrayim. We were slaves to Pharaoh in the land of Egypt. But then God, with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, embraced us, steadied us, encouraged us, and gave us balance, or at least the potential for such balance. As the Golden Calf episode indicates, that balance took a while to take hold. And the truth is, we're still working on such equilibrium in our own lives. We're still struggling for Menuchat HaNefesh, for resting souls in balance and in tune. And if it's not COVID-19, there will be other plagues to unsettle us. There will be daily anxieties that induce fear and distress. We will have other losses that tear our hearts and leave us bereft and lost. But God's strong and comforting hand, God's steadying and outstretched arm are eternal, as is our freedom. And through our acts of freedom, like prayer or meditation or physical spirituality like Qigong or Yizkor or memory, we can surrender ourselves into God's loving arms, not to mention the loving arms of family, friends, and community, even if nervously and full of distress. That's okay. If we give ourselves just enough space in these collective arms to find calm and balance and to let our souls rest. Menuchat HaNefesh. May this time of liberation set us all free and bring us beautiful balance and openness and peace. Chag Pesach Sameach and Good Yantif. And in anticipation of those we remember, Zichronam Libracha, may all the memories that we remember today be for blessing, and may they lend us some modicum of peace and wholeness and rest. Amen.
Prayer for healing Elna Rafanala. We are thinking of the following people in our community who are in need of healing: Noreen Alper, Judy Altman, Tanya Barliant, Dan Bracker, Randy Bersher, David Burchett, Fegasora Bachaya, Linda Danielson, Gita Damsky, Francine Fields, Lana Fields, Jill Gardner, Don Grandolfo, Mimi Harris, Werner Hyman, Jane Herron, Priscilla Hill, Walter Ivy, Larry Jones, Harold Katz, Molly Klee, Anne-Marie Kuleza, Robert Langfelder, Steve Lenowitz, Holly Lipschultz, Roy Lloyd, Stephen Martinez, Gerald Marks, Richard MacArthur, Stephen Melnick, Deet Meserve, Albert and Gwen Miller, Deborah Miller, Jimmy Miller, Scott Montgomery, Jordan Narenberg, Nicole Newcomb, Larry O'Neill, Don Olson, Sarah Payton, Mark Perlman, Alan Sager, Leah Bat Sarah, Sarah Chana Bat Elisheva, Kristen Rouse Skinner, Betty Rudolph, Maria Skalyanskaya, Linda Stahl, Tali Stein, Kirk Stokes, Virginia Wharton, Nachum Feivel, Ben Gedalia, Umasha. Leah, are there any other names?
No additional names have been added to the chat, but I know we hold so many in our hearts.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cantor Friedman. I feel honored today to read a small taste, a small taste of Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs. Just 3 verses I wish to read that give us a sampling of the powerful love poetry, the powerful message of renewal, the powerful impact of personal relationships and our brit, our covenant with God. This is the ultimate springtime message. And so, Cantor, will you lead us in the blessing?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nbiim tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe Avdo ובישראל עמו ובביאי האמת והצדק.
Amen. Reading from chapter 2 of Shir HaShirim, verses 10 through 12. Ana dodi ve'amar li kumi lach ra'iti yafati ulchi lach ki hine hastav avar hageshem chalaf halach lo hanitzanim nir'u va'aretz et hazamir higia v'kol hator nishma v'artzenu. My beloved spoke thus to me, arise, my darling, my fair one, come away. For now the winter is past, the rains are over and gone. The blossoms have appeared in the land, the time of pruning has come. The song of the turtle dove is heard in our land. I find this set of verses very powerful, particularly in light of a message about menuchat nefesh, of equanimity, because ultimately equanimity requires a little bit of trust in the environment around us. In this case, such a beautiful place with seasons unfolding and love blossoming and relationships strengthening. Having confidence and hope and faith in these outcomes can calm us, can help us feel balanced, can infuse us with a sense of renewal and renewed purpose. Cantor, let us bless.
The blessing after is a little bit different.
Cantor, can you handle the blessing after for Haftorah?
Sadiq. Let's try this again. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, sadiq b'chol hadarot, ha'el ha'ne'em. So sorry, my dad has Alzheimer's, and if he calls once, he calls many, many times to try to get hold of me.
Make sure you say hello to him. Glad to hear.
I certainly will, after we're done with services.
That was a sacred phone call.
That's for sure. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, sadiq b'chol hadarot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'oseh, ha'medaber u'mekayem, shekol divarav emet v'tzedek, al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvi'im, v'al yom hag hamatzot hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, l'sason u'simcha, לכבוד ולתפארת, על הכל אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש והזמנים.
Call to vote. Perfect. Let us close our Torah service.
Next slide, please. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva, hadei shamenu kekedem, hadei shamenu kekedem.
All right, let us pause there and we will skip ahead to our Yizkor service.
Rabbi, do you wish to do a brief Hallel?
Yes, before that, let's do Hallel. Thank you for the kind reminder. We must praise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et Hallel.
Amen.
בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז, הייתה יהודה לקודשו, ישראל ממשלותיו, הים רעב והנוס, הירדן יסוב לאחור, ההרים רוקדו, כלים גבות כבני צאן. מלאך הים איתנוס, הירדן תסוב לאחור, ההרים תרקדו, כלים גבוהים כבני צאן, מלבני אדון חולי ארץ, מלפני אלוה יעקב, הכוחי הצור, אגם מים, חלמי, למעיינו מים. And then finally, my favorite, the Oompa Loompa Hodu. Hodu, Hodu, Ladonai Kitov, Gile Olam Hasto. Hodu, Hodu, Ladonai Kitov, Gile Olam Hasto. Yomana Yisrael, Gile Olam Hasto. Yomruna Beit Israel, Gile Olam Hasto. Hodu, Hodu, Ladonai Kitov, Gile Olam Hasto. Hodu, Hodu, Ladonai Kitov, Gile Olam Hasto.
We have much to be thankful for, including the capacity to remember. And so we graduate from this part of our service in which we praise God for the many blessings to a more somber part of our experience today, more sobering and serious aspect of our prayer, Yizkor. And so, Cantor, can you begin with Shviti?
Shiviti Adonai, L'nei Tami, Kinimini, Balimot. לכן שמח ליבי, יגל כבודי, אף בשרי ישכון לבטח. כי לא תעזוב נפשי לשאול, לא תיתן חסכתך לראות שחית, תודיעני אורח חיים, אורח חיים. סוף אשמחות פניך, נעמוד במנחה נצח. שיביתי אדוני לנגד תמיד, כי ממני בא לאמור.
Reading from Mishkan Tefillah. Birth is a beginning and death is a destination, and life is a journey. From childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength, and often back again. From health to sickness and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey from birth to death to life everlasting. And as I turn the page, I'm comforted to reprise the 23rd Psalm, a few more verses than just verse 4. Mizmor LeDavid, a Psalm of David. Adonai is my shepherd, I lack nothing. God makes me lie down in green pastures. God leads me to water in places of repose. God renews my life. God guides me in right paths as befits God's name. Though I walk through the valley of deepest darkness, I feel no harm, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You spread a table for me in full view of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My drink is abundant. Only goodness and steadfast love shall pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai for many long years. So let us take a moment now in the spirit of Yizkor, in the spirit of silent meditation. Let us blend both and take this time to remember whomever we are remembering on this Yizkor. And this is your opportunity just to take that personal moment and to dive deeply into your hearts and to watch the memories unfold there, to feel them deeply and privately. Cantor Friedman, let us continue with El Male Rachamim.
Rabbi, I believe we also have a Yizkor list. If we could put that slide up, that would be lovely.
Yes, let us put the slide up. So before El Male Rachamim, let us read the following names. We'll do El Male right after, and then Kaddish. All kind of in a continuous flow, although with one reading between the Kaddish. So we remember those who have died in the past year. They are Norman Alper, Donna Lee Altman, Philip Arendt, James Bell, Judd Bergman, Charles Joseph Cole, John R. Comp, Linda S. Rigg, Beverly Falstein, Pearl Fitter, Beverly Getzenberg, Teresa Gilchica, Brian Goodman, Eddie Hazen, Larry Heyman, Adam Janet, John Jamilo, Joanne Kantrowitz, Gertrude Kasikoff, Irene Kogan, Rabbi Peter Noble, John Lewis, Roberta Netchin, Michael O'Connor, Donna Plazenkis, Edgar J. Rivera Sr., Andrew Ruskowski, Keely Shenwar, Marilyn Nelson Schiff, Lorna Weber Sherry, Junior Alan Simpson, Rabbi Nathaniel Stamfer, Estelle Zheyevich, Camille Tracer, Dr. Irving Tracer, Barbara Urbanska Yeager, Rochelle White Washington. Are there any additions that we may not have written here? Any repronunciations of names mispronounced?
There are no additional names from the congregation at this time.
Okay. So we say to all those who have died within the last year for whom we observe this Yizkor, and anyone not named at this point, recent deaths or Yartzeiten or any other people that we're remembering, we say Zichronam Lebracha, may their memories be for a blessing. So we rise in body and or spirit. We'll continue with El Maleh. I have a special reading and then stay standing. If that is your custom, if you're seated, that's fine. And we'll continue with Kaddish Yatom.
Il Male Rachamim, Shochen Shochen Bamramim, Hamseim Nochan Nechona, Tachat Kenfei Chashchina, Im Kedoshim Utorim, Kezohar Rakiyam Asirim, לנשמת יקרנו שחלכו וקדושך לכו לעולמם. ברחמים. יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים. ויצרור חיים את נשמתם. אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינוחו בשלום, בשלום על משכבם. ונאמר
Amen ve'amen. Kol hakavod. We have one detour on the way to Kaddish, and that is Aleinu. So we rise in body and or spirit, and we turn to our Aleinu slide, and we will continue with that.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו כהמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים. לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמן, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as they live, we too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. So now we turn to our Kaddish slide. And we pray. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirute b'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon b'yom echon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'meru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam almei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemed kudsha b'richu le'ilah min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'meru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'meru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'meru amen. May the one who makes peace in the heavens bring peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and may God help us achieve a menuchat nefesh, a certain balance of our souls, a certain restfulness of our souls, even as we mourn, even as we are filled with sadness. May we find the freedom to live our lives with purpose and to keep actively these memories we remember today during this Yizkor and always for a blessing. We say Amen. Cantor Friedman, one announcement perhaps about tonight's very special experience, healing experience,
Yes.
experience, I might say, I dare say.
right? This particular Qigong this evening at 7 o'clock is one for an immunity boost. It's a lovely spiritual practice, dovetails beautifully in lockstep with our Jewish tradition in that healing the soul is, of course, of highest priority. So please join us 7 o'clock this evening. If you'd like to email me, I'm happy to send you the Zoom link and the password. Thank you.
All right. Kol hakavod to you, Cantor. As always, thank you for bringing your wonderful soul to bear and your voice as well, and your presence. Leah Jones, thank you for your ongoing leadership. In particular, your willingness always to dive in and roll up your sleeves and do the little things that make us a wonderful, even great community. I'm really proud of your leadership, and thank you as well.
And to you, Rabbi, we're very, very lucky to have you.
It's my pleasure.
It's been wonderful. It is wonderful working with the two of you. And I'm grateful that we have services every week. I see you more now than ever. And for that, I'm grateful. And it's been wonderful.
Leah, practice makes progress. The more we work on our efforts, our working effort, the better it gets. So I thank you for teaching me that, you too, Cantor. It's interesting how this moment of shelter has given us new, creative, innovative ways of engaging. Probably knew this beforehand, but we really know it now and are showing it. So thank you. Let's do Ani Be'ata in the spirit of teamwork, in the spirit of a world that can be changed if we, have the wisdom and the courage to change what we can. Just like the Serenity Prayer says, the Minuchat HaNefesh prayer says, you and I together will make a bigger difference if we collaborate and do our best to change the world. So here we go. Ani ve'ata nishane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ata haz yavo ufar kulam. Amru et ze kodem lifanai ze lo mishane. Ani ve'ata nishane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ata ninase mechachala. Yeh lanu ha'in davar zelo nora. Amru et ze kodem lifanai zelo mishane. Ani ve'ata nishane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ata nishane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ata nishane et ha'olam. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May Adonai bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav le'avoneka.
May God smile upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God lift God's face to you, that God might shine in you and shine through you and give you the gift of peace.
Amen.
Yehei ratzon.
Yehei ratzon. We say Good Yontif. We say Chag Pesach Sameach. And may the closure of our Sman Cherutenu, our season of freedom, be filled with Menuchat HaNefesh. May our souls be peaceful and restful, and in the spirit of Yizkor, may those who rest in eternity also be at peace. And we say, thank you.
Moadim l'simcha.
Modim l'simcha. Be well, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye. V'hitraot.